Hey there, Hofstra fans, and welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. I'm your host, Julian Coulter, joined as always by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride men's lacrosse team, Seth Tierney. Coach, how's it going today?
All right, Julian, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, and we had a good week to talk about. One game this week. You take on the University of Delaware down there in Newark. CAA game, an opportunity to even up your record at 1-1 in the conference. What were your thoughts on the win?
Yeah, certainly played well enough to win. Good to be 1-1. If that's the best we can be, you still have a little bit of regret versus the UMass game, but I thought that a couple key guys stood out. Certainly starting with Chris Clark at the faceoff X. You have a performance like that, it's certainly going to enhance your chances to win. Ryan Riley, Mike Malave, Sam Linares with some timely points, and a couple other guys stepped up.
Let's sort of analyze it and break it down piece by piece. We'll start with the offense. You outshot them 40-17. So anytime that you can almost double, triple the amount of shots that they had on goal, it's a good day at the office offensively. And then you mentioned that Mike Malave continues to just be a counterpart. And we know Sam Linares is the CAA player of the year for the preseason. But do you think the goal scoring aspect really runs through Malave on this offense?
A lot of it does. Michael he's worked really hard on shooting. He's been out there, and his hard work has paid off. There's no getting around it. And having a two-headed monster with him and Sam, it certainly, it makes it a challenge to cover. And then the other side pieces, now you enter Zach Franco the first time he's getting a start, and he throws in the first two, and Corey Hendrickson, he had a three-point performance. Dylan Holdeman, his name may not be in the stat sheet, but he's dodging really hard. He's drawing slides, and he's doing some pretty good things.
What went into the decision to start Franco at the offense? And obviously, you mentioned it. He scored the first two goals of the game. Did you like how it paid off?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with what Briar Davis was doing. To be honest with you, we thought that, and they proved us wrong a little bit. We thought that a lot of our feeding was coming from left-handers with Kavanaugh and Sam dodging up left-handed. So to put a right-hander inside, it's a little bit more comfortable to finish because Briar he's a left-handed player. And then what does Franco do? He scores his first goal left-handed, and Sam feeds it righty. So they kind of backfired a little bit, but the result was a goal. And then Zach scored another goal when he kind of split a double and stuck it, and it was great for him. Thrilled for him. He's worked hard in the weight room, changed his body. He's done a good job.
Special teams wise, it's something we always talk about before the beginning of the game, whether or not it's going to have an aspect. And you guys had a lot of EMO opportunities, but you only cash in on two. Sure. If there's something you want to take away from that, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that there was one that we held on to at the end. It goes into your record of just being 25%, but it was more about having the ball than scoring at that point. It was more about playing keep away. So, you take that away, 2 for 7. There was a couple that the big theme this week is having empty possessions. We don't want to have empty possessions on offense or certainly on EMO. And an empty possession is just not a quality look at the goal. We're not going to score on every possession, but let's at least get our money's worth down there and on each and every possession, including man up. So we have to fix some things. Certainly know that the CAA. It's a lot of physical games, so penalties could be called.
Now let's talk Chris Clark. Earlier on in the week, I asked you if he was the best face-off man in the conference. I know what answer is waiting for me if I ask that again, but what I can say is he changes the game every single time he goes out there and he wins a face-off. And in the Colonial Athletic Association, to look at so many great face-off men, starting with the guy who went up head-to-head against this week in Tyler Barbridge, Nick Saputo over for Drexel. It pays to have a good face-off guy, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It's having a relief pitcher. Just to get the ball back. It's a deflating situation when another team scores and then they get the ball back, and it's a winners out type deal. So with that, Chris has played a huge role. He'll have a good matchup again this week against Nick Saputo, who was really the catalyst of Drexel's run last year. He had a couple big goals in a playoff game and really put his team on his back. So it'll be a good battle here at Stewart Stadium on Saturday against Drexel and Nick Saputo versus Chris Clark. Again, Chris is going to continue to work and hopefully he can do his job again.
Now let's talk that game this Saturday. Probably the biggest matchup to date in terms of getting over that hump, being able to be 500 overall, but also be 2-1 in the conference. And needless to say, I don't want to say you've had it circled on your calendar because of how many other great games you've played over the course of this season, what great teams, but The team that beat you in the championship last year against the CAAs, does it feel good, the opportunity to finally maybe get a little revenge?
No, again, it is a good juicy story for you guys and things like that. I would imagine that our guys know about it. I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that we've mentioned it. But last year's team is last year's team, and Drexel's last year's team is Drexel's last year's team. And this year in 2015, Hofstra and Drexel are going to play. And yeah, I mean, is it going to be in the back of our mind? Sure, but it's a whole new year, and we have to treat that way. There's sidebars. I was roommates with Brian Volker for 4 years at Hopkins. It has nothing to do with it. 2014 has nothing to do with it. It's a new year. It's a 60-minute game, maybe even more. Knowing these two teams, and again, we're going to see if we can come out on top here.
Mentioned Saputo, so obviously we can put him by the wayside, but what's the scouting report for their team?
Yeah, again, you know me with names, but I'm more of a numbers guy. 13, 15, and 5, are making that's what make them go. Ryan Belka at 13 at the midfield, he just does a wonderful job for them, and he's a big, strong kid that's got a lot of experience, playing hard, and then 15 and 5 that can put the ball away. So we have to know where they all are, but those three are what make Drexel's offense go, and we got to make sure that they're accounted for at all times. And then defensively, they've played a couple different goalies this year, and they're different hands, so we got to worry about is it going to be a righty or a lefty? And good shots are good shots, no matter what hand they are. And then defensively, they've been pretty stingy as well. So we're going to have to have the ball. Let's not take the first one unless it's a great one. Well, if it's not, then let's wait till a little later in the possession, see if we can increase our percentage.
Finally, Coach, what do you think is going to have to be an X factor to you guys getting a victory this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, again, not talking about winning, but just talking about playing a better brand of lacrosse than we did versus Delaware. We played well enough to win, but we need to continue to improve. This is the time of the year where we need to get some confidence, where we need to get some consistency, and to improve our brand.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. As always, the Hofstra Pride men's lacrosse team takes on the Drexel Dragons this Saturday at James M. Short Stadium. Come out and support the Pride. Once again, he's the head coach of the Hofstra Pride men's lacrosse team, Seth Tierney. I'm Julian Coultry. You've been watching the WB Mason Coaches Report.